Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And today, we're gonna be talking about Ripple XRP and about Cardano ADA. Now, more specifically here, guys, I want to briefly talk with you guys about the Ripple CEO revealing the only condition under which they would settle with the SEC. Because when I did my interview with Jeremy Hogan, we went over all the different scenarios in what senses that Ripple would settle with them if it was likely and if they would express that to the public. Some of the conclusions from then were, even if they were to want to settle, they probably wouldn't let us know. Because why would you? If you're going to say we want to settle, you sound weak, which is very obvious. However, one thing that did come out, which is very logical though, is this quote right here. To the extent we can find a constructive path forward with the SEC, we of course want to find that. There's no scenario though when we're going to settle unless there is absolute certainty about what is XRP on a go-forward basis. We have a clear vision of how XRP can be an extremely powerful tool. There's a lot of money, or there's a lot of other people in the crypto community and the XP community doing amazing things with XRP. And of course, guys, that is exactly my opinion too. A lot of people are using XRP that are independent from Ripple. And yes, guys, Ripple's trying to help them out as much as possible with funding. I don't think that's really a bad thing though. And I can still see it from a certain perspective of just wanting to increase the utility of the token because you want to increase the utility of the token because that's just something you want to do. If I, for example, make my own coin right now, right? But I have no more control in it. Well, even though I made it and I still have the best, kind of interest in it, it doesn't mean that I can control it. So it doesn't mean it's actually kind of a security anymore, if you guys get the drift. The same thing I sometimes think about with Charlie Lee from Litecoin. He sold all of his Litecoin. And I kind of wonder if the foundation, for example, that does all the work has not a single coin of that which they're supposed to, that's supposed to be their security. If they have none of those, that could be very peculiar, right? Or if they had such a small percentage, then actually a lot of the theories which the SEC puts up don't really work no more. Let's say, for example, that Ripple only had a very small portion of XRP to start off with, then we wouldn't be in this battle because you cannot really fight it, and so forth and so on. I've been thinking about a lot of different things. Now, the conclusion of this settlement talk, though, is if Ripple and the SEC can come to an understanding, they'll settle, which is the fun fact that's always beneath the layers. Ripple and the SEC are most likely not actively looking to negotiate for a settlement right now. But, as anybody knows, the SEC can step back at any time here. The SEC and Ripple can always, at any one of these points, just decide to settle if they come to a conclusion. And that could be every single day. It could be because the SEC doesn't want to give over stuff to the court, and so they'd rather settle. It could also be because Ripple just really needs the clarity right now, and the SEC gave them an okay offer, for example. There's always a point at which you'd want to settle. That's for almost any dispute in this world. Almost, right? Not all of them, but almost all of them. There's a middle ground. There is. And here again, we can find that most likely, if XRP were cleared from now and Ripple officially lost on paper because they have been fined for doing some wrong in the past, but right now it's good, they could most likely agree with that if they also knew that they couldn't go for a full sweep and win everything. Then again, guys, I think that Ripple's not going to do it because they will win perfectly fine. Then again, it's still a company though, right? And I have to think about what is in the best interest of the company, not just what is can we win from the SEC? No. Then again, as Ripple has explained like 1,000 times on Twitter before, they're also looking out for the best interest of crypto instead of only XRP. And from that perspective, I think if they settle, they're not really helping crypto out too much, they're just helping themselves. By getting the judge to decide, they're helping the crypto market a lot more because it provides some extra clarity on paper because a judge has to rule on it, which again is my opinion. Now, there's a couple other things in this article, but they're not really that relevant nor important. I watched the video, dramatic music, definitely. It's also rather interesting. It's basically this interview that Garlinghouse did in which he explains that things are not clear. I actually talked about it a little bit earlier today or yesterday, even at that, I think yesterday it might have been, or this morning. I don't remember. It's him just, again, explaining the Ethereum situation a little bit and the fact that there's no clarity. I watched it like 3 minutes ago and I still kind of already forgot what exactly he said. But that's because, he just said, again, it's not a security. It's just the usual stuff. He didn't say anything too specifically that's new and crazy on that matter. So there's nothing that you really need to know about in this video, if you were to ask me. You know, he's picking up the Ethereum issue and whatnot. Not that crazy. We have another, I guess, interesting article, though, right here. XRP has great risk-reward ratio, with 10 times price rise likely to happen by macro guru Raoul Pal. Macro guru Raoul Pal. Well, he is saying that global payments asset XRP has a great risk-to-reward ratio despite a lawsuit filed by the US SEC. In a new interview on Savvy Finance, the CEO of Real Vision and global macro investor shares why he remains bullish on the crypto asset. Quote, XRP is a great risk to reward. The lawsuit, we've seen every lawsuit, every single one has been fine. Everybody's actually cleared up after the event anyway, and these events were a while ago. BitMEX, that's happening. We're going to see all of these, so I think it's going to be slap on the wrist that it could look like a security. There will be no admission of guilt on either side, and there will be a payment or of a fine, and then XRP is free to run. The former Goldman Sachs executive also identifies factors that will help drive up the price of the coin. What's interesting about XRP is there's quite a lot of use cases. Now, I know the bunch of Bitcoin people hate it. It's not decentralized enough. I don't care. Are people using it? Yes. A lot more than most people realize. And what's amazing about this setup is you can't buy on any of the exchanges, and it's not in the Bitwise ETF. The Bitwise ETF is now $1 billion of the Bitwise index. The top 10 index is $1 billion, so the moment XRP is free, they have to buy a few $100 million in it, as everybody else can, because the exchanges will have it back. So you're setting up for a hell of a nice run if it clears up. And Powell says it's still worth betting on XRP despite the possibility of Ripple losing in its legal battle with the regulators. Worst case, it doesn't. Worst case is, let's say, 50% downside. Best case is 10 times from here. So I'll take a 50-to-1 risk reward for the next 3 to 6 months. And that's what I keep saying, guys. That's what I keep saying. That's what I keep saying. That's what I keep saying. And I'm loving this. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. It's exactly my own words. The risk to reward, and I always do the roulette analogy, right? It's just so good. It's just so freaking good. Not financial advice, but logic. Very much logic right there. There's a very good chance we're going to win, but even if we actually lose, what's going to happen? You're going to lose your money. Okay. But let's do worst case scenario. The chance of winning okay, let me actually emphasize it a lot. What I'm about to tell you is a hypothetical scenario. This is just to explain something. This does not mean that this is my actual opinion. I'm going to try and explain something. Very often when I say these things too quickly, people go to the comment section really angry, really surprised, so I had to put some emphasis there. The roulette analogy. If, this is an if, Ripple had a 50% chance to win, and again, conversely, a 50% chance to lose, but the upside, so the return on our investment if they won, were to be times 10, and the loss, again, being 50% if they lost as well, would be we lose all our money. If you compare it to a roulette wheel where you get double your money if you win and you lose it if you lose, well, you can take that bet as much as you want because the expected value is, of course, half of it. So you're going to end up with 1, basically, if you start with 1. Now, if it's 10-0 with a 50-50 odds, you should always take the bet because if you average it out over 1,000 times, even once, it's just always worth the bet. And again, with the XRP Ripple lawsuit, I personally believe that the chance of winning is about, I'm not going to say the real world because I'm personally thinking like 95%. Then again, to keep it professional, I might have to say 3/4 of a chance because you don't know what the SEC is planning behind closed doors. You don't know how bad things really are in terms of the correctness of them. So I'm going to say 3/4 at least. With, again, a multiplier of at least 10. At the time when the lawsuit happened, I said there was a multiplier of 100, but the price has already gone times 8 or so. Right now we are back to times 6 from when I said that. So, yeah, I still think we do easily do more than 10 times from here on forward, though, guys. I personally think so. I rambled on a little bit again, but that's because I want to explain some stuff. I don't know. I try to make these things as informative as possible. Sometimes I get led astray a little bit. Sorry for that, guys. Hopefully you still understand, though. All right, moving on, Cardano. Today is the day that the world comes together around Cardano. So I was already kind of talking about it earlier today, that Cardano had an event going on right now. So again, the summit is there. Following the latest non-event, what's next on the price front for Cardano? It's been almost 2 weeks since Alonzo Fork went live. They have, stablecoin proposal. They have the event right now. It's just the system is growing. People are getting more and more excited about it. And even though the average transfer value is going down, which some people see as a bullish thing, I don't really think so. It's a very negative thing, theoretically speaking. And the interest is going down, at least on some parts, because again, you don't have a big upgrade like this happening anymore. The activity on it is increasing, and the amount of people excited for it is increasing. Everything like that is increasing. Here's also, and again, I'm gonna all put this under one timestamp because it's all kind of the same thing. Charles Hoskinson outlines future for Cardano at virtual conference. Cardano has partnered with major U.S. telco company. At the Cardano Summit 2021, about 100 bobbing avatars representing ADA fans from across the world huddle together and watch Charles Hoskinson explain the future of Cardano. And while we're riding a giant flying turtle, stingrays soar up above. Hoskinson says input-output, the software company that created Cardano, is like Apple. The subtext being that we're watching the next Steve Jobs. But the difference is that Hoskinson will soon cease to play a leading part in the thriving ecosystem, and we, the bubbles, who by now are throbbing with excitement, will be the next Steve Jobs. Interesting, because he does look a lot like Steve Jobs in his real look, but also in the way that he talks about things. Now, we don't have to read fully into it. We just know Cardano is expanding right now, and the way that they have the mindset, I would say, is also kind of interesting. Now, Cardano also aims to be the legitimate option in global governance. Again, there's a lot of bullish stuff I can say, a lot of things in which Cardano wants to change this world. Again, get rid of the CEO structure, get rid of the centralized structure in a lot of different senses, just decentralize everything. It's really interesting because they want to decentralize everything while being very, very compliant with a lot of the regulations. And then also Cardano partnered with Chainlink to integrate oracles for advanced smart contracts. Cardano joining forces with Chainlink, Oracle provider Chainlink, to provide extra support for developers building smart contracts by integrating oracles. Going to allow for a lot of things once Chainlink gets integrated, so that's very, very nice. It was inevitable, it was going to happen eventually, but right now, I guess we got the confirmation. Big thumbs up. I'm liking it, I'm liking it, I'm liking it. All right, guys, that was it for today's video, though. If you enjoyed it, make sure you press that like button, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video later today.